Hello everyone, my name's Angel. This is Lit Astrology. So I decided to make this a little bit easier to follow for everyone by putting all the planets on this zodiac grid. So you'll see every house, every zodiac house from Aries over here all the way around to Pisces, full circle. And this is where everything's going to be at the full moon peak, which is going to be Sunday at 1:09 p.m. Central Time, right? So, hello. Yes, hello. A lot of light hitting every part of the zodiac, which means it doesn't matter if you have everything in Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn, where there's nothing. You're still feeling this because every element has something in it. But I got everything like from where the planets are to the degrees to the signs and even the elements. So here, like for example, Scorpio is a water element, so I got it blue. Sagittarius is fire, so I got it somewhat close to red. Capricorn is earth, so I got it green. Air is clear, so I made it purple. Because Prince, Purple Rain. Just kidding. Dope song though. It's the best one that I could use to make it not the same as the other. Anyway, doesn't matter. But purple is air, green is earth, pink is fire, baby blue is water. So I got everything dialed up here, everything that you need here, and I'll zoom in on everything as we're talking about it. But right off the bat, let's talk about the full moon. So the full moon, it's a red full moon, lunar eclipse. And it's going to be the tint of red, not quite like this red, but it's going to be a tint of red for about an hour 22 minutes. But it's a lunar eclipse, so again, eclipses are like the portals. They're the true portals. And the best astrologers on earth will tell you that the portal season is the portal season is eclipse season. So yeah, what that means is the time for change and to set the stage for the next 6 months for whatever you're trying to achieve or accomplish in life, or whatever path you're forging. You want to be putting as much energy into whatever you're trying to build or add more to at this time. So wherever your attention goes, the energy is going to flow to during this eclipse season. So in between the full moon on Sunday and then the new moon, which is 2 weeks after the full moon on Sunday, whatever you're putting energy at, that's going to set the stage for the next 6 months until the next eclipse season happens in March. So very, very crucial to be focusing on whatever you're trying to build at this moment. And, if you can't put anything into action, then write it down at this time. Very, very important. Again, the best astrologers are going to tell you eclipses are portals. Keep that in mind. Don't believe me? Look it up. Google it. So props to all those astrologers that tell the truth. Love you guys. The full moon is going to happen at 15 degrees Pisces. So this is this little yellow guy right here that I tried to paint red because it's a red full moon. Then you see the sun here. I got it nice and orange and I got it written down. Sun, 15 degrees. So they're going to form a direct line of communication. So we'll draw this line. It's not going to be straight because I'm not a straight writer. Drawer. So right now we're considered to be in Virgo season, right? Because the sun is in Virgo, and right now it's probably like at 12, 13 degrees. It'll be at 15 degrees on Sunday during the full moon. And so we consider it to be Virgo season because the sun is in Virgo, right? The fact of the matter is the sun's in Virgo. You know how like the moon's going to be in Pisces for the full moon? The sun is in Virgo. So where's Earth though? Because the sun's in Virgo, but that doesn't mean that Earth is in Virgo. Little known fact, never seen much people, if anyone, talk about it, but the sun is in Virgo. Here on Earth, you know where Earth's at? Pisces. Earth is always in the opposite sign of where the sun is. Crazy, right? So in reality, I was born during Capricorn season, which means I was born when the sun was in Capricorn. But Earth was in Cancer when I was born. So the Earth that I was born on was in Cancer. So am I really a Capricorn or am I a Cancerian? You see what I'm saying? And I don't want to blow people's minds, but the fact of the matter is, your sun sign is a part of you. It's not the whole part of you. No matter where the sun is, that's Earth will be on the opposite sign. So when the sun enters Libra in a couple weeks, Earth will be in Aries. Do you follow me? This is a fact. This is not a theory. This is an astrological fact. So what is that? How can that help you understand the full moon? Well, understand this. This is why full moons happen the way they happen. Full moons reach 100%, right? When the moon is exactly 180 degrees away from the sun. And astrologically, every time there's a full moon, you will see the moon full. So you can't tell me that astrology is not the truth because it's always correct. Here's the bigger part. So here's more proof that wherever the sun is, Earth is in the opposite sign of that sun. So you're going to see it too. Every full moon, but especially this full moon, you're going to see it because it's going to be big and red. Now, if you've ever wondered why during the full moon, sometimes when you see the moon rising on the horizon, it's so massive. It's so massive because that's when it's closest to Earth. Because when there's a full moon, the moon is in the opposite sign of where the sun is. In this case, Virgo. So the moon is going to be at 15 degrees Pisces, right? Well, where's Earth? Earth is also at 15 degrees Pisces. So the moon and Earth are very close together because they're in the same sign. So that's why not only is the moon full during the full moon, but it's also very massive, especially when it's rising, because that's when it's closest to Earth. Science. Move over or be ready to be combined with magic, because this is it. This is the truth. So that's why during full moons, especially big ones like this one, we see the moon very big when it's rising, because we're closest to the moon at that time because it's in the same sign that Earth is in. Does that make sense? So whatever sign the full moon is in, that's the sign that Earth is in every time. And whatever sign the sun is in, the opposite sign of that is where Earth is in. So yeah, pretty neat, huh? For some reason in astrology, everything's like brought up like by the mainstream astrology, like every planet, every major luminary is part of our astrological birth chart. But for some reason, they taught us not to follow where Earth is at. It's so strange, right? Wouldn't it be important to know where Earth is at, what sign Earth is at when you're born? If you get anything from this, like this full red moon, get this. The lunar eclipse season, so from the full moon, which is pretty much now, till the new moon, which will happen 2 weeks from Sunday, wherever your attention goes, that's where your energy will flow to. And again, if you're like someone who's like, you know what you want to do, but you don't have the resources to do it, then this is the time to be writing it down for the next 2 weeks and be thinking about it and just planning it all out as if you did have all the resources. You know what I'm saying? So for example, if you wanted to build like a basketball court in your backyard, but you didn't have the resource for it right now, during these next 2 weeks and throughout these 2 weeks, you want to be putting a lot of mental, spiritual, psychological, and even like physical, like this and this moment type of energy towards that. And so if you don't have the resources, you want to write it down and map it out and do the blueprint, and then just be thinking about it and focus on it for the next 2 weeks, because it's just going to add energy to it. Doesn't mean that at the end of 2 weeks you're going to get it, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't. I'm just saying that this is what you want to be focusing on if you want to tap into these portal energies. The second thing I want everyone to understand at this time is the reason why the moon is full during a full moon is because it's directly opposing the sun 180 degrees, as you see here again. And then not only that, it's massive. The moon is massive at sunrise because it's in the same sign that Earth is in. Little known fact. So whatever sign the sun is in, here on Earth, we're actually in the opposite sign. So if it's Virgo season on Earth, here on Earth, we're actually in Cancer because it's in the opposite sign. So that's why during the full moon, when the full moon's rising, it looks massive, like super massive, because Earth and the moon are at the closest when the moon is full. Does that make sense? Okay, moving on. So this full moon's, it's got a little bit of magic too, because added to it specifically, because usually it's just the full moon and the sun, right, that have that direct 180 degree correlation with each other, the aspect. But Mercury's right behind the sun at 10 degrees. So this reminds us too, because whenever Mercury's behind the sun, it reminds us that we want to be thinking before we speak, act, or answer anything. So before you react to anything, always think, because we tend to lead without thinking whenever the sun's before Mercury. Mercury's like that filter. So Mercury will pass the sun here soon. Once it does, it kind of gives us like an automatic filter. But at this time, you want to be making sure that you run whatever you're thinking, doing, or saying through like 2 or 3 filters before you let it out. Especially if there's like challenging energies. Think it through, and then let it out. So yeah, great. Whenever Mercury represents swift communication, swift movement, that's a great thing. So that conjunct Mercury and Sun opposing the moon is awesome. And this full moon is also very important because we have a sextile 5-degree orb with Venus in Leo and Mars in Libra. So the best aspects, which means the best angles in astrology, are the conjunctions, trines, sextiles, oppositions, to name, those are the four best ones: conjunctions, trines, sextiles, and oppositions. Those are my four favorites. So whenever there's a sextile, they share this the two. Whenever there's a sextile, the two planets involved share the same polarity because the signs that they're in. For example, Mars is in Libra. Libra is a positive energy. That's why I got the plus sign there. So that's a male energy, and then or masculine energy, I should say, masculine energy. And then Venus is in Leo, which is also a masculine energy. So they share the same polarity. So there's like a window of opportunity within the two. That's how it works in astrology. So there's a direct line of communication with Venus in Leo and Mars in Libra, right? So I'll draw that line there. Hopefully you can see right here. So very favorable, especially considering like the Mayans and Aztecs, and I think even the ancient Egyptians, they followed Mars and Venus religiously. Like those were the two most important things that they would follow in the sky. So this is great whenever Mars and Venus form any aspect because they're like providing balance to us. So you have Mars with the masculine and the Venus with the feminine. And since they have that sextile form, it's great because there's a direct line of communication. That's why we draw those lines, because there's a direct line of opportunity there. So, but pretty much what it is. So you have Venus and Mars forming a 60-degree favorable aspect because it's a sextile. And then yod actually. So when a yod happens, you have a direct line of communication between the two planets at the base. So in this case, it's Venus in Leo and Mars in Libra. So that's like the base. And then at the fulcrum point, or the apex of this yod, is going to be the moon. So these three planets slash luminary, that'd be the moon, Venus, and Mars, form this like triangle of energy. So consider it like also like a portal, or like an energy being shot towards Earth. So you're getting the best of the masculine and feminine energies being like, and you know, yin and yang energies, I should say, being shot at Earth, and the moon's reflecting that. So the finger of fate, the finger of God, is when like the cosmic energies intervene and bring rapid change to whatever scenario they see fit. So this right here is bringing a balance to masculine and feminine energy. So it's helping us like develop that good balance instead of being like overly masculine or like overly, you know, feminine. It's just like giving a sweet balance. So for this to happen during the full moon, pretty dope. Because it makes it very powerful because the moon's at 100% illumination, and that's when the moon is closest to Earth, so we're going to be filling it. It's going to feel amazing. The other thing that I want to talk about too is this is probably the most important thing happening in astrology, probably in modern history, maybe even like in the last couple hundred years. I don't know, but in modern history, this is the biggest astrological happening that we will witness, which is the magic triangle. So this magic triangle it's formed, you know, it's been strong for over a month-ish, and it's going to be strong for a few years. And it includes the three big outer planets, meaning it involves Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Those three planets bring the biggest change to the world. So whenever there's movement with Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, then we're in like world-changing times, which I'm sure everyone notices by now that everything's a lot different than what it was even just 2 years ago. Maybe even 1 year ago, maybe even 4 months ago. That's going to continue rapidly because the more, like, it feels like the future's being held back. The more you hold back the future, it's the same as if when you try to manipulate the weather. Look at it like this. If they try to manipulate the weather from happening, look at it like someone trying to hold back the future, which you're going to look at that like think of like someone holding a slingshot, and then you're pulling it back, right? And then the more you pull it back, the more you pull it back, the more you pull it back, and then you eventually it's going to just snap and go. It's going to shoot even further and faster than what it did. So it's going to get to its destination regardless of any outside manipulation. And it doesn't matter. You can like try to push it back or try to make it come slower, but eventually that slingshot's going to go even faster. So it's going to end up worse. It's the same thing when they try to manipulate the weather. You can try to stop like rain from happening, which, you know, if you have the technology to do that, if you figured out a way to do that, go ahead. But just know that weather is just going to double or triple next time it hits. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's some things that people don't understand, but they will really get here in the future because there'll be enough proof to show it. So, like, back to the triangle, though. The magic triangle. I'm not kidding. This is what it's called. So, this magic triangle involves Uranus and Gemini, right here, right? Uranus and Gemini. 1 degree, Uranus at 1 degree Gemini. Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius, down here. Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius. So if you notice, I got Aquarius purple and Gemini purple, right? See how it's purple? Because they're both air signs. So the air signs I have purple. So whenever there's a connection with two planets in the same element, in this case air, in this case it's a 120-degree angle. So you have Pluto and Aquarius at 1 degree, Uranus and Gemini at 1 degree. There's an exact 120-degree angle between the two. That forms a trine. So trines have like superpowers to them because the direct line of communication that they share, and then the element that they share, it's like double the power. So anything that you feel, so let's say you don't have anything in Libra. This is actually a grand trine, but let's say you don't have anything in Libra. That's okay because you're still feeling the power of Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. So I haven't even talked about that too, because like I could talk about this for a long time, but I'm not going to. But there's actually a grand trine, because the way I see grand trines is it doesn't matter where the planets are in degrees. It just matters that the planets are in the same element. So in this case, most astrologers are not going to do this, and I'm cool with that. But me personally, this is a grand trine because you have Mars in Libra, air sign, 20 degrees. Pluto in Aquarius, air sign, 1 degree. And then Uranus and Gemini, 1 degree. So that's a grand trine because you have one planet in each element. The only difference is that it's not a grand trine close enough in degrees for mainstream astrologers to accept. I will, because it's the same element. And it's like, just because, like, for example, this house, there's several rooms of this house. I can still feel like my roommate's energy when they're in the house, whether they're in the same room as me or not. My room might be at 1 degree of this house, and then their room might be at 20 degrees, but they're still in the same house, so I still feel the energy. That's why grand trines are felt. It doesn't matter the degrees, because you can still feel it. You can feel someone else's energy when they're in the same house. They don't have to be super close to you. Damn, that's good. Anyway, so yeah, technically that's a grand trine happening right now, which is super magical. But back to the triangle, the magic triangle is what they call it. Let me put this down because for some reason the screen keeps getting higher and higher. Or maybe I keep getting lower and lower, it doesn't matter. So again, back to the magic triangle. Again, the most important planets when it comes to the world and society changing and like transformation, and then how we create, where society goes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So again, here you have, and I shouldn't have went left field, but that's okay because that's what happens in astrology. It's so easy to go left field. So here you have a 120-degree trine happening with, now that I think, I hope you got to stay focused on this super triangle angel. Yeah, angel. So you had this 120-degree angle between Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius, and then right in the middle of it is going to be Neptune at 1 degree Aries. So you have this trine formed right here again, right? Super magical, super powerful, because Pluto's like world transformation, life and death, rebirth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The great transformer is what they call Pluto. And then Uranus can bring sudden change to society. And it's also like the power behind like how we create, how we invent things. Like inventions are kind of governed by Uranus. And then like right in the middle of that 120-degree angle is going to be Neptune. So it's like a perfect magic triangle. It's like a pyramid. And Neptune is like our mystical, mythical, creative side, or how we create art, what art we like all the fun stuff, like it's the mystical, like magical part of us is Neptune, right? And it also is like can govern like what's happening behind the scenes, behind like underneath, like the deep waters of the sea. Think of Neptune, right? The god Neptune. So this magic triangle is going to be like super powerful during this time. So and just remember this magic triangle, like this should be the most talked about thing probably on Earth right now, to be honest. Like it should be touted like how much change is happening because of this astrological formation. But as you know, there's reasons why they're not, because they don't want people to realize that everything's changing. And their main job is to try to keep people like thinking in the past, so that people don't continue like working on like what you're creating, because they want you to be a consumer, not a creator. So you have to make that choice. Am I a consumer or a creator pretty much every day? The more you create, the more you build that life towards being a creator. That could be anything. You could build something in your house. Like I said, you want to build a basketball court, but you don't have the funds for it. Then you better mark those plans down during this full moon, moving towards the new moon portal, which is the next 2 weeks, next 14 to 17 days. So yeah, magic triangle. Remember that magic triangle. The biggest thing happening in astrology, probably in modern history, is this connection between Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. And it's going to be like this for a while. It's going to the main focus right now is transformation and change individually. And here you get it on the individual level during this full moon and on the outer level, because they call these the planets. Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Those are the inner planets. So those are more like on the individual side. So we have individual change sparked by this full moon because we have this yod with Venus and Mars in the full moon, and then we have the like big picture change, future changing aspect between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Very magical, very magical. What did I miss? I don't think I missed anything. Yeah. So again, this is how astrology works. So what you want to do too is, if you want to like work on like individual stuff, for example, hold on, let me put this cap on for the mark because these dry erase markers are super cheap. But for example, let's see, where's my fucking wand? Excuse me. So this is how you work. Like, let's say if you've ever played video games, or if you ever watch your kids play video games, whenever you're making your character, there's like a talent tree or like a skill tree that you have. So for example, you can like in Destiny, the video game Destiny, you can like put points towards like your magic or like your defense or like your power or your speed, etc. That's what astrology is. Wherever your planets are when you were born, that's where you allotted, because you chose this stuff before you came here. That's where you allotted your energy and power to. But my Jupiter's at 18 degrees Pisces, and then during the full moon, the location of Jupiter is going to be at 19 degrees Cancer. So there's a trine formation formed with current day Jupiter during the full moon and my birth chart Jupiter. There's a direct line of communication. There's a trine formed there. There's a window of opportunity that's forming for me to advance or enhance or upgrade or level up my Jupiter. Does that make sense? Trines are very like one of the most variable aspects. So whatever I put my energy and focus and attention to, it's going to expand, because Jupiter expands whatever you're focusing on at that time. Jupiter brings luck and expansion to everything. So when my Jupiter is forming a trine with current day Jupiter right here, that means that whatever I focus on and put my attention to is going to grow naturally, organically, whatever it is. That's how you use astrology. It's pretty complex, but it's supposed to be complex. Like, we're not basic individuals. And this is why like a lot of these things are hidden, and this is why they won't ever stop like trying to distract us, because we're not here to be consumers and followers. We're here to create and better ourselves through this system. Oops, Mercury, I just knocked off Mercury. Mercury's communication, so that means it's time to go, Angel. You've said enough. But yeah, I look forward to sharing this more. Again, this is the first time I've used this. I've had this board for a while, but I decided to use like this because I wanted to spend less time like using like art on, or trying to like edit stuff on my phone. I just get tired of doing that, so I figured, might as well just create my own board where I can move it and see where it's at every day. And this is great because like now it's easier for me to just pull up my birth chart on my phone and then just match in with anything happening today. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. So this full moon is gonna be super lit, but the portal is open now pretty much. From now to the new moon, it's gonna be a lot of magic. And the new moon is wild with magical energy. Wild. Like, we ain't seen nothing yet. This new moon, this solar eclipse, because the new moon will be the solar eclipse. This is the lunar eclipse this Sunday. 2 weeks after that will be the new moon. That'll be the solar eclipse. That is where like serious magic, and like even after, like the new moon starts like a new wave of magic hitting Earth. But it's just the beginning. So it's super dope. So again, portal season, eclipse season is portal season. Put as much energy, focus, and love into what you're trying to grow at this moment, and you won't regret it. This is Lit Astrology. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Go Giants! Oh yeah, one last thing before I forget. If anyone wants help, like going through their birth chart and figuring out like how to plug things in, definitely don't be afraid to reach out. That's definitely something I'm going to be doing. I want to do an astrology class here real soon, but I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row. So yeah, if anyone would be interested in any of that stuff, whether it's joining an astrology class so you can teach astrology seamlessly and correctly, and I just like to focus on the positive. So if anyone's interested in that, definitely don't be afraid to reach out. But yeah, like astrology is like, I think, the biggest secret to Earth. It's super dope. So if anyone wants any help or needs help just kind of going through their birth chart, definitely don't be afraid to reach out.